Okay, so this is Genesis chapter 7 of the message. Oh gosh, just excuse it. I have literal monitoring spirit slash gang stalkers that constantly are in my business. I'm not kidding. When I read the Bible and stuff, it really doesn't matter what I do. When I do that, they're just all in. It's creepy and it's weird, but God's recording everything. And the King James Version, I was just talking about the books. We each have a book that God, He writes our actions, good and bad, all that we do, even in our hearts. And He's writing it for them too, so I don't know, it's creepy, and there's going to come a time really soon when these people will be removed from my life. God has already told me. But if you hear like heavy steps and stuff, it's those people. It's these monitoring spirits that are, for some reason, they have a lot of hate in their heart, but they're like constantly in my business, and then they get really weird when it comes to like praising God. So you will hear those things in this recording. You will hear these things in several of my recordings, and that's what that is. So don't be alarmed. Genesis chapter 7, the message. Next, God said to Noah, "Now board the ship, you and all your family. Out of everyone in this generation, you're the righteous one. Take on board with you 7 pairs of every clean animal, male and female. 1 pair of every unclean animal, male and female. And 7 pairs of every kind of bird, a male and a female, to ensure their survival on earth. In just 7 days, I will pour rain upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. I will make a clean sweep of everything that I've made." Noah did everything God commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters covered the earth. Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives boarded the ship and escaped the flood. Clean and unclean animals, birds, and all crawling creatures came in pairs to Noah and to the ship, male and female, just as God had commanded Noah. In 7 days, the flood waters came. It was the 600th year of Noah's life. In the 2nd month, in the 7th day, on the month that it had happened, all the underground springs erupted, and all the windows of heaven were thrown open. Rain poured in 40 days and 40 nights. That's the day Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, accompanied by his wife and his son's wife, boarded the ship, and with them every kind of wild and domestic animal, right down to the kinds of creatures that crawl and all kinds of birds and every thing that flies. They came to Noah and into the ship in pairs. Everything and anything that had the breath of life in it, male and female, of every creature came just as God had commanded Noah, and God shut the door behind them. The flood continued 40 days, and the waters rose and lifted the ship high over the earth. The waters kept rising, and the flood deepened on the earth. The ship floated on the surface. The flood got worse. Even all the highest mountains were covered. The high water mark reached 20 feet above the crest of the mountains. Everything died. Anything that moved, dread, birds, farm animals, wild animals, the entire teeming exuberance of life, dead. And all people, dead. Every living, breathing creature that lived on dry land died. He wiped out the whole works, people and animals, crawling creatures and flying birds, Every last one of them gone. Only Noah and his company on the ship lived. The waterworks took over for 150 days. So that's the end of chapter 7 of the message, Genesis chapter 7. Immediately I really thought about the end of here where just talking about the death of everybody. Everything died, and the entire teeming exuberance of life dead. All people dead. First of all, God wasn't playing around. He meant what he said, which is true. He always means what he says. If he says he's going to do something, it's going to be. It doesn't matter how long it takes or whatever, because his timing is perfect. But whatever he says, just like anything in this word, it will come to pass. It never returns void. It will be. Okay? So he carried out, what he said he was going to do. Reset this whole planet and preserve Noah and his family. But everything else died, except for the sea creatures. But everything that roamed the earth died. Which, the real target was human beings. And it just makes you think, in a moment, your life could be over. You're not promised an entire lifetime. You're not even promised the next moment, let alone tomorrow. It's just something that most of us expect that we'll be here tomorrow, and we've got our plans. But if God says your time is up, it's over. Like, it's done. There's nothing you can do. He's the creator. There's nobody and nothing that can stop it. Just like anything that you have in your life, if he decides to take it or give it, it's his choice. He's the ruler of all of this, and it doesn't matter if there are people who think that they're under their own power and their own will, because there's so many people, especially people who have a lot of money and possessions and things. Not everybody in that facet believes this, but the vast majority of people who have even the ounce of money and power or something that they feel like they have, this mentality starts to sink in. I call it manager syndrome. I mentioned this in my potato filming video, what that is. And it's just when someone gets into a little power, it kind of goes to their head. It seems to corrupt them, most people in most ways, where just most people aren't meant to have really any power, even an ounce of power, even in their own lives, because it's just, they wouldn't do right by it. But anyway, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent. I'm kind of drifting off from Genesis chapter 7, but it just really made me think of God's will, and whenever he decides on something for you, even if it's the end of your life, then it's time. It's done. And I pray that anybody under those type of circumstances is ready to meet their maker. Because there's going to come a time when we all have to meet him and face him about what we did here. Everything we did here. And there won't be any justifying, because he's going to know what was going on in your head and in your heart when you did whatever you did. Good and bad. This is a big reason why I don't really worry too much about people who do weird things or wrong things or creepy things, because God sees it and he's recording it in your own personal log. It doesn't have anything to do with me, even if someone tries to target me. It doesn't have anything to do with me at all. The real issue is inside the person. So, and that goes for good things too. People out there trying to do good deeds and just have a good heart for others. It all comes from inside. What you're producing from your heart. So just be careful. This is a warning, really. Be careful about that, because at any point, God can decide your time is up. Then you have to face him about what you did. Having a healthy fear of God is important, because he's all powerful. He's the judge. He's the king. And even if you don't believe in him, or even if you're just going to live your life here and do what you please, there will come a time where you have to face him. And he's going to show you everything that you did, good and bad. You won't be able to escape him either. And then he's got a fate for you based on all that too. So just be careful, guys. Fear God. Fear your Heavenly Father, because he's got a lot of power. And you don't have to be scared of him in the way where you do what he says because you're afraid. Because even then, like, the judgment that you'd get if you'd done wrong, it's not really to fear him per se that he's going to hurt you. What you're really truly fearing is being held accountable for what you did. He's just being a just judge, giving you what you deserve based on what you did when you were here. The reason you would fear him is because he's going to do the right thing. He's going to give you exactly what you deserve based on yourself. So, when I say fear God, fear what he can do, but he's only going to do to you what you earned. So just keep all of that in mind. And I don't want to forget to put in the good things about him, like having a real relationship with him, even in your struggles, to be better. That outweighs everything, judgment and whatever. Like, it just outweighs everything, actually being with him and knowing him and having this relationship with him and walking in him and growing in him, really discovering who you are in him, really understanding who he is the best you can in this life. Because he's really amazing. Like, he's just the most beautiful thing ever, really. And, he's not going to be this God that's just like, I forgive you, everything is okay, and just, he knows your heart. Well, yes, he does know your heart, and he knows if it's really wicked, and he's not going to have that. He's not going to stand for that. So just keep those types of things in mind. There's so much that just goes into knowing God, and once you actually start to seek him and know him, you get to understand why things are the way they are, even down to his law, like why he has designed things a certain way, and why, it's better to do this than that. There's so many reasons why, like, his plan and his laws they're really perfect. And it isn't to say that you're meant to do it all perfectly, especially from life to death. No, we're human. We're fleshy, so we're gonna do some terrible things here, It's just impossible to live a perfect life. There's only one that did it, and it took God in a flesh body to do it, We can't. Which is the reason why he came to do what he did, was because we just couldn't. We couldn't live up to those standards. We needed an interceder. We needed a mediator, to help us out, or we would be doomed. And I'm talking about those who actually want to know God, those who actually want to know what life is all about, and what is this thing that we wake up every day and do things, just to go to sleep and wake up and do it again, What is all this about? Like, what is this planet Earth and the clouds and the sky and the turning and the sun going up and down? What is all that, It's not, it's something that we're used to, that we've grown accustomed to, but when you really think about it, it's absolutely cosmic. I mean, if you think that this is just something that is, and you don't really question why, like, come on, you've got to think about it. Everyone has to have had that thought at some point. What is this, and why is this arrangement like this? It's such a strangely cosmic and mystical arrangement, life in this world. All of it. But there's an order, too. So, I mean, there's obviously some kind of elite hand over this. Like, the most elite hand is the one that's making this happen. And I hope and pray that for those who take time out to read through this, and, if you're listening, I hope that you can consider that. Take a moment and really think about that. Just for your own sake. What's this all about? Why are you here? It isn't to, quote unquote, live your best life. There's just something so much more to it than this. Living your truth or whatever. Just, I'm going to die, I don't know. I'm just rambling on, but it's just so weird. Some people just kind of coast through life and It isn't to downplay, their struggles and the things that they go through, but it's just so much more to life than things, getting things, and having things and looking a certain way. It has so much to do with trying to figure out who did this, who made this. And it has so much to do with treating people well, treating people right. It has so much to do with that. Those two things are huge. They're not just the first and second commandment. They're huge. It just... it has so much to do with probably what's written in our books. How we were to God and our relationship with Him, our walk with Him, and how we treated other people. Which is a reflection of how we really think about ourselves. Really think about that too. You're out there treating people bad. And we're not saying your loved ones or whatever. That's easy. It even says that in this book. It's easy to love those who love you. What about people who hate your guts? What about people who you don't even know that treat you poorly? Can you show those? Just people in general that doesn't do anything. They're just regular old everyday people. You don't know them. Can you treat them with some kind of mutual respect as if they were your family, as if they were your friends? Or are you just holding on to hate? I just see this stuff every day. People just holding on to hate and just treating people really poorly because they're not a part of their clan or something. And it's just weird. Like, God can take anything He wants from your life, including those you think you love, that you think love you so much. Be careful how you treat people. It's really important because you can find yourself at the end of your life. And what would all this even matter? I'm rambling on. This is Genesis chapter 7. What really stuck out to me was the fact that everything died. And God decided in that time frame that He was done. And at any point, He could decide that is your time. Today, tomorrow, whatever is your time. What are you going to do? You can't do anything but hope that you lived a decent life. But you don't even have to hope it if you're consciously living your life. So, this is all food for thought. I'm going to move on to chapter 8. But I just pray that you got something out of this chapter. I guess there's one other thing that I noticed. Was that even though God removes things, to me, this is what I've gotten out of it. Even though God removes things, or can remove things from your life, it doesn't mean that He can't replace it with something better and pure. It may look like the world has come to an end or whatever. That's not necessarily the fact, in your own life. Maybe it didn't come to an end. Maybe He's just resetting things. Maybe He's just correcting things, making it right. Maybe He's removing the tainted, toxic, wicked things. I just know there's a lot of people that I've spoken to who've been in really difficult seasons of their life where they feel like they've lost so much, even if they're following God. And it's just really good food for thought to know that if that's happening to you and you are with God, walking with God, don't stray from Him. Just don't, because there's so much more going on behind the scenes in the spiritual realm that you just don't know. Just keep walking with Him anyway, because there is a reward. There are blessings at the end of all of that loss that you might be going through. If you're walking with Him, there is, most definitely. And I know that to be true because it's not me saying it. It's God's word. He declares that so many times, that He's going to watch out for His children. He's got your back, if you're with Him. And it doesn't matter who's someone's trying to stop it or whatever. They can't do anything. If God says yes, back off. It's just, you're useless if you're trying to get in the way of Him. No one can get in the way of whatever God's got planned for you. And the way that you can guarantee it, that you're going to get what He's got planned, is to stick with Him. Even if it seems like you're losing everything. If you're with Him, you're not losing a thing. So just keep that in mind. That He could just be in the process of resetting things for you. Just like here in this chapter 7 of this flood and everything dying. But there being new life. Once these animals and Noah and his wife and his son and his son's wives are released back into this new earth, where there is no wickedness at this point, there's the plan of repopulating it with this new set, with this set of people. I mean, of course, it doesn't really go that way. The world becomes wicked again, but I guess this is just kind of an analogy, just for your own life. If you find yourself in that, just stick with God. It's going to be okay, I promise. And I have a testimony about that. It's not done yet, so this is the reason why I haven't told my story yet. But I'm on the precipice. It's almost done, and I want to share it with you guys just to help encourage people who really are seeking what this is all about in God. And maybe you are going through some storms, and I just really want to encourage you. So since I can't tell the testimony yet, I just really, really, really want to stress again that if you're walking with God and it looks dark, it's okay. Yes, there's spiritual attacks happening for sure, like Job. There's a lot of that where, maybe Satan is just going all through, your life because God is allowing it. But God is probably just using him. Like, to me, that's what it always seems like. God is just using these things to reset things for you, to bless you. You just got to hold on, because there's something, if not many, huge blessings that are coming. And I can vouch for that, So until next time, this was Genesis chapter 7, and I hope you got something out of it. You can definitely share whatever you think or whatever you feel that you've gotten out of this. Every verse has something special in it. Almost every word has something special in it. You can read these things over and over and grasp a new thing or a new meaning or something to build on what you already learned. Anyway, that's it. Moving on to chapter 8. You guys be blessed, and I wish and pray many, many blessings over you. Stick with God. Stay with him. You won't regret it, I promise. I love you. Bye.